Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Don from 1A Auto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And the next time you need a part for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we'll be showing you how to replace or do a front brake job on this 2003 Nissan Maxima. Pretty much the same for pretty much the same for a lot of different years Nissan Maxima, but it'll be very similar for any 2000 to 2003 Maxima, as well as the same years of the Infiniti i30. And you're going to need a new pad and rotor set from 1AAuto.com, jack and jack stands, 14, 19, and 21 millimeter sockets. You'll need a ratchet, and you'll probably also need a breaker bar or a pipe for some extra leverage for some of those bolts. A wire brush. You may need some penetrating and oil and a hammer if your rotors don't come off easily. You'll need some brake grease or white grease for reassembly, a torque wrench, and a large C-clamp or large channel lock pliers to reset the piston and the caliper. Start up by removing the wheel. You're going to want a 21 millimeter socket and ratchet or a breaker bar or your tire iron, and you'll probably want to start with the wheel on the ground, loosen the lug nuts, then raise and secure the vehicle with jack stands, and then remove the wheel on the tire. Okay, turn the wheels by hand or by using the steering wheel to access the back of the caliper.
We're going to just do a general inspection of the brakes. We're going to check the pad life, we're going to check the rotors. You can use a flashlight and look through the inspection in the caliper to look for your pad. These have a little bit of pad left on them, a little bit of serviceability, but we're going to go ahead and replace them just to show you how to do it. In terms of the rotor, you're going to want to look for excessive rust, excessive wear, and lips as you run your finger across the rotor itself. This one is in pretty good shape, but we're going to go ahead and replace it with a 1A Auto part, just for your reference. The next step is going to be removing the two 14 millimeter bolts that hold the caliper to the caliper bracket.
And speed up as Don removes those two 14 millimeter bolts. These bolts should come off without too much resistance.
We're going to pry the brake pad away from the rotor, thus pushing the caliper piston in, creating more room for us to get this off. Alright, and as you can see, I went right through the inspection port into the rotor and pulled towards me. At this point, we've gained enough access and enough clearance that will allow us to take the caliper right off. Take the caliper, put it in a position where it's not hanging from the brake line. At this point now, we can remove the outer pad, the inner pad if necessary. You can always use a screwdriver to pry it out. And we're going to do just another inspection, take a look at the caliper guide slides. These are both fluid and go in and out as they should. In the event that you find one that isn't, they can lead to premature brake wear. And what you would do is pull it out. You can see this is greased correctly, but if it wasn't, you would take a wire brush to it, clean it up nicely, grease it, put it back in, and re-secure the boot. Next, we're going to take off the caliper guide with the two 19 millimeter bolts. Right, these are the tools that we're going to use to remove the 19 millimeter bolts. Either a conventional half-inch ratchet with a 19 millimeter socket. If you experience heavy resistance, a breaker bar. And if even further force is needed, you can use a pipe as leverage through the breaker bar. Slide the pipe over and apply even pressure down, adding more force as necessary, so safely breaks the bolt free.
And I'll speed up here as Don breaks loose that second bolt. Again, when using the pipe method, you can use it with just a regular ratchet as well, and just apply nice even pressure, increase the pressure gradually until the bolt breaks loose.
At this point now, the 19mm bolt, the second of the two, is about to come out. You want to be careful when you pull it out because your rotor could loosen up, which is still supported by the lugs, but your caliper guide is coming off.
All right, go ahead.
Right now, time for removal of the brake rotor. In this case, we have an ideal situation because the brake rotor is free. In some cases, you'll find that the brake rotor, it will be rusted solid against the hub, in which case you can use some penetrating oil, spraying around, let it soak in for a little bit, and then give a tap from the back, breaking the rotor free. We're going to use a wire brush, clean off the hub to get a nice surface for the rotor to mate against. Got the brake rotor. Something that you can do is take some mineral spirits, brake clean, and just clean the surface of the rotor. Make sure there's no residual oil left over. Once that's done, slide the rotor onto the hub.
Install a lug nut hand tight to hold the rotor in place. Now use your wire brush and clean the stainless steel slides. They're on the brake caliper bracket.
Our caliper guide cleaned up. We'll reinstall the 19mm bolts.
Speed up here. Don first threads those in by hand and then uses a socket and ratchet to preliminarily tighten them.
Set torque wrench to 98 foot-pounds. We can go ahead and torque the 19 bolts. At this point, we're going to recommend using brake grease on the surfaces of the pad that come in contact with the caliper and the caliper slide. You can see I've got a little bit of it spread here on the back of the pad, working that in, and then also at the edges that are going to fit into the caliper slide itself. And we're just going to be careful not to get it on the pad itself. When we took the pads out before, notice that the inboard pad had the clip on the end. So that's going to go in first on the inside, snapping into the caliper bracket. Same goes for the outboard pad, snapping right in and mating up against the rotor. In order to fit the caliper back over the pads, we're going to compress the piston back into the caliper using a C-clamp.
Okay, I'm just going to fast forward as Don works that C-clamp in. You can see as the C-clamp compresses the piston, it goes back into the caliper. You can also use a large pair of water pump or channel lock pliers to do this. You just open the pliers up as far as they'll go and squeeze the caliper and piston.
What we're going to do when we're doing that is use our fingers to keep the slides in so that the caliper itself fits right back in. So if you find that you're getting any resistance, make sure that these are pushed in and snug it right up. Reinstall our 14mm caliper bolts.
And speed up here again as those bolts are tightened up preliminarily.
And we're going to set our torque wrench to 25 foot-pounds. We'll set.
And fast forward here as we take that lug nut back off, put the wheel and tire on, and just put the lugs on by hand first, and then preliminarily tighten them. Set your torque wrench to 100 foot-pounds and tighten the lug nuts. Use a star pattern, kind of draw a star pattern as you tighten them, and then just recheck them.
Anytime we do brake work, just make sure that we get in, pump the brakes a bunch of times, make sure you have a good solid pedal, and then do test stops from 5 and 10 miles an hour before road testing the vehicle.
We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.